Right now, we're going to chat to a head teacher of a primary school in County Durham, Jane Davis, who's head teacher at Lanchester AP Primary School, who has very kindly, actually, throughout this year, shared her thoughts and her feelings on what's been going on with regards schools, with regards teachers, her school particularly, in Lanchester in County Durham. And we thought we would catch up with her following yesterday's announcement by the Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, about schools and school closures. As it happened, obviously, it didn't affect the primary schools in our area. Obviously, it's had a bit of an effect on secondary schools. But most of the primary schools in most areas staying open, including in our patch here. So I said, how did you feel when you heard that announcement?
I'll be honest, yesterday I was mixed because, they claim that the new strain are kind of so rampant. You think, will we go in a complete lockdown again? Mm-hmm. And I was mixed, really, in my sort of opinions of yesterday. I think it's hard for parents because they've got some children who are off school. If they've got children who are in secondary school, they aren't attending school, and yet the primary children are. So, one parent got in touch and said, I don't understand this. Why can my child in year 7 go to school? My child in year 4 can't. So I think there's still a lot of confusion amongst parents. I think there's a lot of relief amongst our parents in that we are staying open. But there's some anxiety as well there, because I think, at the moment, the transmission rates are so high that there is a little bit of, I think, more fear there than there has been in the past. Because
primary school teachers aren't immune. And I guess that's the thing. You're not immune to this disease. So you are still in that situation, aren't you? You're still in...
That's right.
The firing line is the wrong term of phrase, but you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah, totally. And it's been very strange over Christmas thinking, well, we can't see our families, but we can see 30 of our children in our class. Yeah. And, yes, that's our job, and we'll do it to the very best of our ability. But yes, I think there will be, more anxiety amongst the staff in going back. And I'm just having today just to sort of take stock a little bit, but I think we'll probably have to increase all of the safety mechanisms that we've got in place to keep the children, parents and staff safe.
That's what I was going to ask, because, we spoke before the kids went back in June. Was it June the kids went back to school?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And extensive plans, the work that you and all the other teachers, head teachers and primary school teachers, secondary school teachers around the North East had put in was staggering, the amount of work you had to do. So you obviously are reassessing. I guess you've got to continue to do that to make things as safe as possible when situations change.
Definitely. It's all the way through the autumn term, the risk assessments were being updated weekly, if not sort of 2 or 3 times during the week at times. But yes, at the moment, because of the rates of transmission, I think cleaning, that will have to be increased. I'm thinking, sort of face coverings. We ask parents to wear them. Now, I sat last night and I thought, should we make that compulsory on school site for staff as well? Staff haven't. We meet and greet and we haven't worn any masks. But I'm thinking, has the time come when we should? So there's lots of things that sort of went through my mind yesterday after the announcement. And when I saw the first kind of anxiety amongst parents, I think they need reassurance that we are doing our bit to keep them and the children as safe as possible.
I think would you agree the children are coping amazingly? They've adapted. They're just getting on with it, aren't they?
They are, yes. And, they do need to be in school. The best place, absolutely, is definitely for them to be in school. I have no doubts about that whatsoever. To see them, on a daily basis, come racing into school, as happy as anything, their life in school is normal. Once they come through our doors, it's as if nothing is happening in the outside world for them. And that's what it should be like for children. They should be almost oblivious to what's going on. Let the adults cope with that, worry about that. But for children, let them come into school, have as normal a day as possible, which they do, and let them just enjoy being with each other. Because they've had, if anybody told me 9 months ago, back in March, that would have still been in this position in, approaching January, I wouldn't have believed them. And I think I'd have probably gone into a state of depression as well, because I'm a very positive person, but, the thought of being in this position still is quite Oh, it's overwhelming at times, really.
I totally agree.
And yes, we do have that light at the end of the tunnel now. We definitely do. And I just think if we can get through the next, couple of months, then, we'll be out of the woods. But it's going to be a tough couple of months, I think.
It is. If we were to look back then at 2020, if you could pick a high point, a low point, I think I might know your low point, but then I might be wrong. But what would you say, kind of highs and lows across the year?
Yeah, I think the two, I suppose the biggest low point was sort of 10 days back in September when the testing system was just not there. It was just not working, and we had staff waiting for tests, waiting for results, and we really struggled. So that would definitely, after being so positive about reopening, I think that would definitely be the low point of the year. Along with, I suppose, the announcement in March, I think that will live with all of us forever, listening to those announcements from the government, 5 o'clock on a daily basis. And that day when they said schools were closing, we were going into lockdown, I think it was almost fear because of the unknown, what was to come. High points, I think the high points are, I'm sitting in my office on Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, and I can hear the children playing outside. I can hear the laughter. I can hear the shrieking. They're the high points for me in school when you have that normality and just being with the children. There is nothing more therapeutic for us as adults than being in school. We have that social side with others. You see other staff, you see other adults. Yeah. That is wonderful. We've all said we'd hate to be working from home. It's tough and a lonely existence when you're working from home. But we've got the company of those children, and to hear and see them in school be normal, they're definitely the high points for me.
Fantastic. And as we welcome 2021 in, oh, crikey. What are your hopes for the year ahead? Are you thinking, let's not think too far ahead? You've already mentioned, the hopes that the next couple of months with the vaccine and everything that we try and get an element of normality. What are your thoughts?
My hopes, I would like to think that by the summer term, we are more or less back to normal. From a school perspective. We have a residential booked at the end of June for year 5 and 6. That's what I'm aiming for. I would love to think I could take those children on that residential at the end of June. Yeah, that's my aim.
That would be brilliant.
Let's hope for some normality by then.
Jane, can I just say thank you so much for being so open and so willing to talk to me and, very honest at times, like you said, at that low point in September when we chatted, was a real eye-opener. But I really appreciate you being so willing to chat to us and share your views and your thoughts across this year. So thank you very much.
Not at all. It's a pleasure. Thanks, Lisa.
I think as the parent of a child that has been able to go to school throughout, I think he's had 2 weeks isolation, my little boy, at school. A huge thank you to all the teachers doing an absolutely amazing job. For just doing the job, despite sometimes a lot of criticism, despite sometimes not really knowing what was going to be happening next, because announcement come sometimes on a daily basis. It was quite unbelievable back in the original lockdown, wasn't it? So thank you very much as a parent.